Welcome everyone. We are here with Megan and Renee of Kindred Self-Care Community to learn all about Reiki and coaching and how it pairs well with massage therapy. So welcome. To start, we'll just start right away with what is Reiki and what is coaching?
Ooh, our definitions of it
are a little different than everybody else's.
Yes. We tend to do things differently.
Yeah, ours is different. Ours is focused on self-care. And so with our coaching isn't necessarily, it is to get you to like your next big level and like your next, help you get unstuck, which is like very common coaching terms. But with our coaching, it's what can we give you now and the action solutions that you can have now to be able to move to those steps instead of just like having you focus on what the next level is, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And Reiki is being able to use the energy that's already all around us and within us to be able to help increase that vibration to help you live your dream life.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So, and that's also what makes you guys even more incredible. It's like, okay, right now, you don't need to wait and wonder. Here you go. Here's your problem. Here's your solution. And something you can do right now.
Yeah, we're not ones to waste time.
Mm-hmm. Our Reiki is also very different. We actually mix Reiki with coaching as well. So it helps help raise the vibration and helps give the solution during the session instead of like having to do like 3 or 4. Because we find with therapy, it's the same way where it's just like you get like right to the end of the hour-long session and then you're like,
you tell the good bits, right?
And then it's done. Yeah. And then you have to like do it all over again the week after and you never really get to solve the issue. They're just there to hold space for you. So we're here to like solve the issue and deliver what that issue is within like the first 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And then what we teach and what we practice is intuitive Reiki. So it's like really listening. It's not about just like a direct energy exchange. It's listening about what your body is trying to tell you. So you can like have more awareness, have more understanding and have more clarity so you can have more direction and actually be able to feel like you can do something about it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. As you were talking through everything, all I visualized was like a buffet when you just get so full, but you just wanted the dessert.
Yeah, totally.
You can have it all.
Yeah. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. And a lot of dessert. Yeah.
So then when people come to you, so you've listed the benefits, what's usually their biggest concern at the time? Like, are they just exhausted? Do they just not know where to go next?
Yeah, lots of people come to us to the point where they feel just really stuck and that they have tried absolutely everything with no real tangible result.
They've tried all the logical everything.
Explanations, and it's like they've done the counseling route, they've gone to all the doctors, they just feel like they've done everything that they can and no one's really given them a real answer, a lot of direction. People come to us, everybody's like thing that they want to help with their physical body, with their emotional and energetic body, is they come to us for relationship stuff, with your career, with love and like legit relationships, or with money. And it all comes down to that. So that's like, they find us because it's like they need an answer, and for our magic, we just know they're going to get it from us.
All 3 of those things are highly connected. And so what happens is they'll come to us with a relationship, but then they'll start to understand that their business isn't succeeding because of something that's happening in a relationship in their life or something that they've been conditioned to. And then the same thing goes for money, that they're not like making the money in their business, they're not making the money or being able to get out of debt, which is like implementing it's struggling. It's like a struggle in their relationship. And so we help them balance out or find solutions in all 3 of those areas so they can all like start moving forward.
Yeah, we do that with the coaching. And then when people come for an intuitive Reiki session, it's like a lot of times it's like they feel like they have like a chronic illness, and especially with like anxiety and depression are very heavily prevalent, like a lot of our clients, and we very much understand that, and being able to really help like intuitively give a solution for each individual problem instead of just blanketing the same solution for everybody's problem.
And with Reiki, it's really good with the emotional stresses that we hold in our body. So we all know that like stress is a silent killer, but we really don't understand what that's supposed to mean or how that works. We just know that it causes high blood pressure or heart disease or whatever it is, but we can teach you or show you how and where it's actually happening in your body and why it's there, because it's all because of stress, which is like the emotional output of like a fight or trauma or failure or whatever you want to like deem that you'll like hold into your body.
Yeah, your body's always trying to tell you something, and we very much help interpret that.
That's huge, especially with like stress, anxiety, depression. They're so much more public now. It's like, oh, it's just a part of life. No,
it's not. And that's the thing. It was like, oh, like your knee hurts. And like, oh, my knee always hurts. I'm like, you're just so used to your chronic pain and like the level of anxiety you have. You don't know that you can live life without that. So when you come in for like Reiki and like work on your self-care and you realize you're like, oh my goodness, I've been living this way this whole time. You don't even know that it's different. So being able to provide the solutions for it.
I can have a new normal, what?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah. It's mind-blowing.
So what does a session look like when people book in? Do they book in, is there like a combination treatment? Do they all come with each other, or what does a session look like?
For an intuitive Reiki session, the adult ones are an hour long. So they come in for a half hour of being on the table for Reiki. It's fully clothed, there's no touching, it's just being able to do the intuitive Reiki, exchange the energy, and I can feel what they feel, and being able to help interpret that for them. And then the second half of the appointment is being able to really dissect that and have them understand what it means for them. And we're very much ones of being able to ask for questions and actually provide a solution so that you come out of a session feeling empowered, that you have a direction now and somewhere to go with it. So being able to have that, really like that self-care combination with an intuitive Reiki session, with being able to be like in a guided meditation essentially for half an hour, and really being able to clear out the old energy, putting this new one in, setting a new intention for what you want your life to be like, and then actually understanding what's going on, what your body is trying to tell you, and then what you can do about it, and have like come out of there with a solution. And then most of our clients, after they leave a Reiki session, have like a couple of the best weeks of their life and nothing but like super good luck because it's like their vibration's so high.
We actually implement Reiki, like one Reiki, into our 3-month coaching package because it helps raise their vibration halfway through it. So they have like the vibe check through sessions, but then they also have like the vibe check with Reiki, which helps give them the motivation and like the energy to keep going with their goals.
Yeah. And then the coaching sessions, people come in for either the coaching package or like the 1-day session or the 1-hour session. And they come in there like, this is everything that's going on. And it's just basically spilling the tea. Yeah. And it feels like it's all very unconnected. And a lot of people like, it's just like, no, there's just like, my whole life around me is falling apart. But we're very good at being able to pick out what the true root of the problem is. And when you can get to that one, like that one thing that's really the center of all of it, we can help you kind of, we call it cleaning up your side of the street. So with self-care and like working on yourself, and you can work on that one root, then all the other problems kind of just like magically clean themselves up.
And we always say too, like our guidance sessions and our Reiki sessions, the hour-long sessions are very good for the people that want to know the answers, but don't necessarily need to have the direction on what to do. They just need to know like what to, like they want to know what to do. They don't need to know how to do it, if that makes sense. Yeah. And then like the long-term coaching packages or the day coaching packages helps the people that need
they need the how.
They need the motivation. They need the checkups and the accountability. They need like that support, like that extra support, because it's something that could be like scary for them, or it's something that, you know, will take a little bit longer than just like the 1 or 2 hour sessions. It's like something that's like their relationship that will need help with for like a certain argument or whatever that's going on for a long period of time. So that's kind of like how we base on how we recommend what works for which person is like, do you need the accountability? Do you need the support? Or do you just need to know what to do so you know, so you could go and do it?
I love that. One, you're not crazy. Come in and we'll figure out what's really going on.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
2, you don't have to do it alone.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can. There's only so much of your internal work that you can do by yourself, and we do not believe you can do all of it alone at all. We haven't done any, like all of our own work alone. And it's just so much easier when you're in a community that's supported with practitioners and having like those external coaches and that external guidance to really help with like your timeline.
Your brain is very good at
avoiding
and skirting around the actual issue. So you need someone from the external to be able to point it out to you, but you also need to be able to like hear the hard truth so you can make the change that you want.
Yeah. And it's never what you think it is, where it's like, no, it's gotta be this. And they're like, no, it's actually this. You're like, oh, but like, that's our job. You know, like you're like you said, it's like your brain's designed to not be able to see that. And we're designed to be able to see that, like for other people.
Or you'll like get that little bit of information. You're like, oh, okay, but maybe not. And you get
no.
No,
and then it comes up in your like very strongly in the next 3 days. You're like, oh no, that's totally what it is. Yeah,
I love
but
that.
then you have direction.
You still need to do the hard work, but the blocks that you'll do for yourself get removed because you have guys.
Absolutely, totally. And we were actually just talking about this morning that it's like when you have that external help, you can work through that block in like this amount of time, or you can try to do it yourself in like this amount of time. So time is very important to us, and we don't want to waste it. So it's like that's where we ask. That's how we allow ourselves to like ask for help, is to shorten.
And we often like compare like time and money. It's just like, do you want to do it for free and it lasts for 5 years and you struggle and then you still end up spending the money, or do you want to like spend the money for the self-care that
make
you
an
can
investment in yourself,
make an investment in yourself, and then have it done within a couple of weeks or a couple of months, instead of having it like draw out? Because like, I know there's certain situations in my life where I'm like, I could do this on my own, and then it's like 10 years later and it's still not done. So
it's like
just an energy.
Doing the basement, like doing landscaping.
Exactly.
Sure, I can try, but
exactly.
Don't pay me to do it for you.
But it's like we make it logical that an investment in our house and our physical property, or like the physical surroundings around us, is like more important than having an investment in ourselves. And a lot of us aren't used to being able to do that, or have that practice of being able to put money and time and energy into our own healing. But like, so much of what we do is all about that self-care. And like, when you flip that and give yourself permission to make those investments in your own self-care, your life just like, it gets so much easier, and it's lovely. It's lovely.
I can attest to that. Yeah,
absolutely. So it's one of those things. It's like, do you want to be in pain for 5 years, for like a little bit of pain every day for a long time? Or is it okay to be able to like choose to like, okay, like this might be hard, and it can be a hard thing to hear some of the things that are said, especially like with coaching and stuff, and then being able to be like, no, but like, this is going to get me a result sooner, and it's always worth it.
Yes, can 100% attest to that. Because we're suppressing for a reason, but when we suppress it, worse things happen. So just let it out, let it go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, it's like, I always think about this too. It's like, do I want to back myself into a corner where then I have to make a decision, or do I want to make the decision when I feel like I'm in more control about it and being deliberate about it? And that's when it can kind of take like the pressure of like, oh man, now I have to do something about this, versus like and that's so much that we want to be able to be proactive about things instead of reactive.
And oftentimes we think that we're indecisive, but it's not actually the fact that we can't make a decision, is that we have a hard time with the follow through.
The follow through is the hard part.
And the follow through is doing like the appointments or doing the self-care. You know, in your head, it's something that you want to do, but you don't actually allow yourself to do it, because that's where the fear kicks in. Yeah.
That's when your logical kick into. It's like, oh, well, I don't have the time, I don't have money, we should spend it on the fence, whatever it is. When really, if you were to follow that intuition and do the follow through immediately with it, like the fence would somehow just take care of itself.
So what kind of things might they experience? Because I know as far as Reiki goes, people might experience different sensations throughout the treatment. What does the experience look like during for some people? And then what can they expect after?
For intuitive Reiki sessions, everybody feels it differently from session to session and from practitioner to practitioner. So just knowing that, I think it's like being open to the experience. Some people physically feel the energy changing within them. Sometimes you get really itchy, sometimes you get really hungry, sometimes it's very meditative and relaxing and people fall asleep, and other times they go on this wild adventure in their mind. It can become very emotional sometimes, and sometimes it's just knowing that it's like you just feel really light afterwards and very calm and peaceful. Most people leave with a feeling of really being able to feel like they've been heard and understood. And sometimes the emotion comes from just having the relief of having an answer, and that someone doesn't think that they're crazy, and that they understand that the pain is coming from, and now they know where the pain is coming from and like what they can do about it. They finally have a path. And it's like being able to have like a really good couple weeks to a month afterwards. And we very much recommend to be coming for 4 sessions on a regular basis. But when you have that understanding, that inner knowing, and that validation that you have a higher self-esteem and more confidence, and you have more of an understanding and awareness in a very calm and peaceful way, where you can see more joy and it's like the colors get brighter almost, right?
It also helps you be less reactive. So you get more centered, more grounded. And when you're less reactive, you're less likely to have a negative reaction to a snotty comment or a passive aggressive comment,
less
or
arguments,
road rage, or whatever you want to say. You're just more centered and more in you. And then you don't even have oftentimes moms after school with their kids, for an example, the kids come home and they're all hyped up with energy and they're excited to be home, and the moms are just absolutely exhausted and they're being drained because of the empathy between the two in the relationship, and it just like really wears you out. And this helps build that up.
And the stuff that usually bothers you doesn't bother you with that. And then with the coaching packages, it's like you're given a direction every single week. So you're coming in, this is what's come up, we help you understand it. And then you leave there with like knowing you have the accountability of like having to do the good job from the week before. You have a direction and a plan. And a lot of us need that external accountability and that check-in. And like that validation of being like, this is what I need to do. And I need to know that someone's going to check up on me and that we care enough for that. And I think that's one of the things with our coaching as well. That's like, we're very, like, we want the best result for everybody. And a lot of people aren't used to that without a form of manipulation or trade or anything around that. So it's like being able to help people like really find their direction and empower them like with their self-esteem, with their confidence, with their intuition, with that direction, and being able to follow it and feel like, no, like I know what I want. I know why I want it. I can see where my limiting beliefs or my blocks are, and not give ourselves such a hard time about it, but see them for what they are, and we can help them like work through it at that time so that you can take that another step forward.
All coaches have different types of coaching.
Yeah,
so ours is like obviously like to us, but we actually coach together. And so there's 3 people or 4 people in the session, depending if it's like individuals or couples. And it really is just a matter of us asking a bunch of questions, holding space for the emotion, and then helping them talk through or identify where the connection and the patterns are. So if you're experiencing a situation with this person and then you see it with this person, we'll show you how it's connected between the two and what the root of the problem is. Ours is set up with like, so our big 3-month coaching package is set up with weekly 1-hour appointments. We will put them together sometimes. So if we feel like there's a big issue, we can sit with like 2 to 3 hours out of that time. But then you have unlimited support in between it. So between the sessions, you have our personal numbers, or we're in like a Facebook group message, and we send voice messages and we help work through the problem while you're in it. Because oftentimes what happens is we'll bring up the problem in the session and then they live through the experiences for the week. And then we can like, again, in the next session, how did that go? What happened with this? This is why this is happening, and bring up another issue. And then they live through that issue like the week after.
It's not holding the hand, but it's like being the guide, like with them through all of it. I think too, we're very much the type that we don't like being told what to do. So it's like most of our clients are like that as well. And it's like, it's asking you a different set of questions from a different perspective to see it in a way that you maybe haven't seen it before. We do that with Reiki and with coaching and all, like basically everything that we produce.
We tell you what to do, but we don't tell you how to do it or when to do it. So we tell you what you need to do for the solution, or one of the things to do for the solution, and you get to decide how you implement that.
And what that looks like.
I love that. So you make whatever decision you want and you're supported. One just might have more hard work now and the other one might have more reward.
And that there's no wrong answer, right? That like some things are an easier decision and sometimes they're not.
And we very much teach and support that there's no right or wrong answer to whatever decision you want to make. So talking about divorce, for an example, if you want to divorce or you want to stay, even if it's a heavily abusive relationship, it's a non-biased decision, and we help you through whatever that solution is or that situation is for you, because it's for your better, your higher good.
It's like getting you to say yes or no for a place that feels good for you, not that works out for everybody else.
I love that. And I know from personal experience and sessions with you ladies that so much power comes in making a decision for yourself. Like taking responsibility is one of the biggest transformations.
Absolutely. But it's like in a way to be able to, it's one thing if somebody were like, this is your problem, this is what you should be able to do about it. Like a lot of us don't want to, like, we don't want to hear it that way. And it's like, that's way harder to accept than be like, oh, like,
our idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the way to be able to do it. It's like being able to like, well, it's like, well, what about this? And it's like, well, this is also coming up in this area. And they're all connected. Your outer world is always trying to get you to go within. But it's like, we need to ask ourselves different questions to be able to get to that answer. Like you said yourself, and it's very empowering. That's where you can get the confidence. And that's where like true healing comes from. When you can have that realization yourself, and the acceptance of it is much easier that way. And that's what we do.
I love that. And another thing about sessions is regardless of everything that comes from it, there's so much transformation in the fact that you're with these two ladies in a space where you can be your most vulnerable and you know there's no ulterior motive. You can be safe being so open, and just that ability is like incredibly life-changing.
It's a gift, right? It's like a lot of us, and it's one of those things that this is feedback we often get, that like people have never experienced that before. They've never been in a space where they can truly be themselves, and like you said, like that the most vulnerable they've ever been, and to be completely accepted for it, with empathy and with compassion and without judgment and without, like you said, it's like that outside of manipulation. Just have that space is in itself, it's very much a gift.
So then how do people know when it's time to come back for another session?
Most people's stuff starts falling apart and you kind of notice that it's like you're just not having quite as good luck as you want to. Really, it's dependent on like what it is that you want to do. Some people will front load if they know that they're really working through something big, that they'll do weekly sessions for a short time and then just come in for like energetic top-ups. But like once a month for sure would be what I would like recommend for a pretty regular basis to like, and this is the thing, it's being proactive instead of reactive. A lot of the times we wait until stuff starts falling apart. We can't wait any longer to be able to do it. But when you're proactive about it, like you don't have to get to that point. You can choose to do something a little bit differently.
We like to compare it to like coffee. Like there is joy in having your coffee made at home and the ease of it and the cheapness of it, and it's good to go.
It's easy.
But then like it's really nice indulging in like a Starbucks every once in a while. And so it's just like, when are you in the mood for a Starbucks? It's like the same type of thing. It's just like, no, like I really need a Starbucks. I really want to like treat myself or do something. It's just like, this is the same thing with appointments and sessions.
That's awesome. And then what kind of tools, because there's like a whole range of things that people use in sessions, what kind of tools do you guys use?
Like physical tools, or what do you mean?
Yeah, physical tools.
I don't use anything anymore. I started with Reiki. We would use like crystals and sage and essential oils, but now it's just me. I'm the tool. And same thing with coaching. It's just like the 3 or the 4 of us just sitting there and just talking, and like we don't even take notes. It's just being able to be like really intimate and connected with that experience.
That's very powerful, because the amount of connection, like as I'm preparing for this meeting today, they can already feel me trying to figure out my technology. So the amount of connection that comes through without any blocks or obstacles is powerful. And then you guys also have amazing tools for people to use when they're not in session. Like I know you guys have wonderful oracle cards that really help give you direct, clear notice.
We like to say that we're not bakers. We don't sugarcoat anything. But we're like that. We want like a direct answer. We don't want people to like skirt around it. Like just tell us what it is so we can like.
And we understand that like time is pressure, and you know, like we have workshops and stuff where we can teach you how to read cards. But like our cards are designed to be straight and to the point, so you don't really have to worry about interpretation. It's just like, if the card tells you don't be a dick, you know you're being a dick somewhere, right? And it's just like, it's like changing the mindset, and it helps. And they're really great for beginners, and they're straight and to the point. You can also mesh them with other decks if you really wanted to for more clarity or whatever. So we have that. That's kind of like our biggest product that we have. Just 4.
We use them just beforehand.
Just
we have
4
4
decks
different
now.
decks. Yeah, but it's like, and then too, it's like, it's not the physical tools that we have can help us provide more clarity or be able to like amplify something that we like already have and know. But it's like, and they can help like get to a point where you have the confidence that it's like, you just need them for like that external, like, yes, no, like this is exactly what I was thinking. And being able to know when the difference is between them.
It's important to know that they're just tools. They're not crutches. So you have all the power in you to be able to do everything that like what we do. And you have the power to be able to do things completely different. And you have the power to be able to do like everything for your highest good, but everything that makes you unique and special. And we always say like your purpose in life is to share your gifts. And the tools, crystals, sage, cards, all of that are just there to help give you the confidence in yourself to be able to do that. It's the external validation so you can show up and give the messages that need to be sent.
100%. And just to talk about their cards and all, they have more. They have like this book, they have lots of things.
So we do have a book.
Yeah,
I forgot about the book.
We just released a book. It's like the little, a little book on how to argue. Yeah.
And they're very direct with that. So I have to read that book. I'm so excited. And with the cards, I love them because when you're not in a session, they help for me personally to get myself out of my own way. So if a situation comes up and you're like, okay, this is what's going on. Okay, well, I just need a little support. I already kind of got it figured out, but let me pull the cards. So then
it's the validation part of it, right? Yeah.
And I pulled up, I think it was Ride the Wave. And then I was like, no, let me try again. And then I pulled Go with the Flow. So I'm going to be direct with you again and again. You're going to have to face what you need to face, or just deal with it later, but you'll have to ride that wave.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, and our cards are like, we've created them like from scratch ourselves. You will hear our voice in your head being like, calm your tits, it's gonna be fine, which is literally one of the cards. So it's being able to like help have that support. Yeah.
And then for anyone who's hesitant to book a session or kind of afraid about what it might be like for them, we've already talked a lot about the safe space and that you're completely safe being your most open. Is there anything else you'd say for people who are a little hesitant?
Yeah, that's super common. A lot of the times too, it's like, you're gonna get an answer, and lots of times there's a lot of you that doesn't want the answer, because once you know something, you can't unknow it, and then you have to figure out how to do something about it. So I think it's like, we have a ton of reviews and testimonials, and I think that can really help with people's confidence in like making that decision. And just knowing that it's like, when you're called to do something, and if you're called to somebody, whatever teacher or practitioner it may be, that it's like, there's a reason for that, and to really follow your intuition with that, and being able to ask, this is a great question. It's actually one of the questions in one of our cards, is like thinking about like, what's the worst that can happen? And it's like, and this is what I ask myself before we do like anything scary, which is on a pretty regular basis. It's like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And it's like, when you say the reason out loud, you're like, that's actually not that bad. And then it makes it a little bit easier for that. But then too, a lot of like the hesitation can come from really just wanting to give yourself permission, that we want other people around us to be like, no, like you should totally do that. Or like, if you ask the opinions of other people, like, oh, do you think I should do this? Or I'm really called to do this, and you're hesitating with it. It's like, where am I looking for permission on the outside when I can really just give myself permission to the inside, and knowing that you're very worthy of any time, any energy, any like input to you, like for that.
You desire it because you do. You desire it because you can. You desire it because it's meant for you. And everything that your heart wants is something that is meant for you, and you have the ability to go and get it or not. And it's up to you to make that decision and to see if this is the path that you really want to go. But knowing, like Reiki as an example, is knowing that if you're called to it, you're probably going to be called to it every single day until you actually follow through with it. So it just depends on, is it something that's going to, like, sometimes signs can be very in your face and annoying, and then sometimes you can completely forget about them. And it just depends on how important it is to you. But for us, we like to look at it as like, we call ourselves like, it's like past Renee, present Renee, and future Renee. It's like, well, future Renee, be pissed if I say no to this right now. Probably. Or it's like, well, like future Renee, like, really be like helpful or like grateful for the fact that I like ordered extra for dinner so we don't have to cook tomorrow. And it's just like really like sitting there and being like, is this something that I actually want? And giving yourself permission to be able to do that. And it's not permission to do it right now, and it's not permission to do it in the logical sense, but it's like giving yourself permission, knowing that you can do it, but knowing you also don't have to do it just because you can.
I always say that. I'm like, present Megan is very grateful for past Megan thinking about future Megan, because this is exactly what I needed.
That is an awesome way to look at it.
Because hesitation is super normal, and I think too, it's like with doing those big steps and like having the courage to be able to come in, but we very much understand that and know how difficult that can be to overcome like that fear.
Especially since our ideal client is full of anxiety and like anxiety people don't want to do anything new. So
especially with people and leaving the house. We're very introverted, and we completely understand it. So it's like, we know how hard it is to be able to take that first step. But I think a lot of us too, we wait for there to be no fear, and a lot of the time there's not. It's about just knowing that it's like the importance of it and the permission that you're giving yourself is more important than the fear that you have. So it's like, you can do it hand in hand. It's like, no, I'm going to do this, and I'm okay being afraid and hesitant of this, but it's still important for me to be able to do it.
And if you don't know why you're afraid, you go see them and they'll tell you why.
And we'll tell you. And then we'll tell you what to do to help yourself be unafraid of things, which is
in
nice.
a nice, direct, supportive way.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely. Yeah.
So speaking of leaving the house and not leaving the house, do people need to leave the house to see you?
For intuitive Reiki is done only in person, but for our coaching stuff, it's a combination of both. We can still have clients in-house with the individual appointment bookings like for that. We follow government protocol with that, and just being able to make sure that it's important for everybody to feel safe and that we are very flexible in being able to help make that happen.
Free Facebook communities where someone can ask for distance Reiki and we will just send it for free and just like a quick little burst of it. And like a lot of people in the group will send it at the same time if you're going through like a stressful time or there's like a surgery or whatever that happens. But for like the actual hour-long session, we like you to be
in person.
Love that. And yes, the community, I'm part of it too, and just being able to like reach out to everyone, they're so supportive. Like you guys have built just this wonderful community, and questions or a hard day or anything, someone's always has some sort of strategy that is really effective.
We've been very intentional about keeping that a very safe space.
I'm grateful for it. And then a few more questions. How does what you ladies offer pair well with massage therapy?
I think everything that we offer pairs well with all like modalities of self-care. So massage therapy is really good with that. You can do Reiki and massage therapy at the same time. But use your intuition on what you feel called to, because if you feel like you have to be forced to go to one or the other, chances are you're not going to follow through with it. So for an example, if you don't like needles, don't go to acupuncture. Right? But it's just like really working on how you feel like it can work. Massage therapy in general, acupuncture, it's what we always recommend is like the wide range of all the solutions and having more than one of those outlets. So massage therapist, you can get like 2 birds with 1 stone with the Reiki and the massage. So like that's good there. And then you can like do the other modalities as well and figure out what type of routine or what type of pattern when it comes to self-care really works for you. So you might notice that acupuncture really works, but acupuncture might only work for once a month, where massage therapy, you can go like every week. And it's just like really working out for what works for you.
A lot of us really want one thing to be the solution, and it's often not. You need to have a little bit of everything. You need to have something to take care of your physical body, like the massage therapy. You need something to take care of your energetic body, like Reiki, and being able to take care of your emotional side of your body too. It's like with everything, it's like when you can combine all of those different elements, it just takes your healing in your life to like a whole other amplified level.
I love that. And they're all safe spaces too. So I find it's huge to also retrain ourselves to be safe around more people, because they've earned your trust by just simply offering the safe space and protecting it the whole time.
Absolutely. And it's like, and then when you pair that with modern medicine and like the modern technology and healing, it's like when you have all of that, you can, for your symptom management, you can get to the true root of it and being able to like truly heal, and then keep being proactive about things instead of reactive.
Love it. And then what is something that you recommend for people to start today that they can do for their self-care, regardless of seeing anyone?
So for self-care for us, our definition is boundaries. You can have all the baths in the world, you can have all the naps in the world, and it won't cure or help your burnout or your depression at all. But what will, and like the big proactive step, is having the boundaries, being able to say no. And boundaries, we talk about this often in our community, but boundaries is me respecting Megan, right? Megan respecting me, and me respecting myself.
And then me respecting myself.
And so if I want to say no to something, I have to respect that I want to say no to something, and I need to have the courage to be able to say no, or to find a compromise that I'm okay with. And it's so like boundaries are where you're really going to notice the biggest impact. It might feel gross or
weird. It's a little weird in the beginning.
Or sometimes like we're really conditioned that like saying no is being mean. And so it's just like really finding a way that you can do that without like burning yourself even more, if that burning out even more, or holding resentment. But boundaries is going to be like your biggest leap forward for something that you can start now, and you can start small. You can start with like the classic one in relationships is like, where do you want to go eat? And you go, oh, it doesn't really matter to me. Pick wherever you want. But then you actually knew where you wanted to go. Like that's a trap.
Being able to practice that boundary of like they're asking what it is that your opinion is, and being able to practice your voice and be like asking yourself like, what is it that I want? Like, where am I holding back an answer for the sake of somebody else's comfort at the sake of my own, when really I could just be like, well, I kind of feel like this. Yeah. What do you think about that?
And then it's working around it. So you might not want to pick a place, but you can tell them what you're in the mood for food wise. So it's like, well, I actually feel like a burger. So wherever you want to go that has burgers, I'm okay with.
That would be great.
Or I really want a taco, or I really want to like have a sit down restaurant. And it's just like having the courage to start with those small boundaries will really help give you the strength for the big ones when it comes to, you know, like crossing of big boundaries, like
making large investments in yourself, or like taking the time and the permission and really being able to change patterns and behaviors. Lots of times people think that boundaries are just being able to say no to like absolutely everything, when a lot of us have like very people pleasing and perfectionist tendencies. And that's not what it's about, like at all. It's like just being able to be like, what is it that I want? What is it that like my heart's being called to? So it's like to be able to implement some like true self-care immediately is just being able to ask yourself what it is that you want. And boundaries also give yourself permission to do it, right? That it's like, no, that it's like, this is a boundary that I need, and this is how I give myself permission because this is important for me.
One thing that boundaries helps you do too is see where you're making decisions based off of obligation. And when you do things off of obligation, that is like you really going against everything that you want to do because you feel guilty, or because you're people pleasing. And people pleasing is just manipulation for getting people to like you. So it's just like, this will help you decide on, you should never do anything out of obligation, because that isn't even putting yourself 100% forward, even with the person that you're supposed to be doing that thing with. Like if you feel obligated to go out for dinner with your best friend, you're not giving them your 100% attention. And that brings up a whole new level of resentment and argument. And then it's just like, why did you even show up?
That's where the like long-term reactions come in instead of being proactive and being asked like, no, I want to go because I want to, because that's amazing.
All connected.
Yeah, there's no escaping any of it.
That is amazing. And then we've already talked about it, but just to close out this talk, what again makes you ladies so unique in what you offer?
Oh, this is the hard question.
I think it's like we talk about very much of our strength is being able to pull out exactly what the problem is, or like the root of it. And it's like we all think that it's all these things, and we're very much able to say a hard truth in a very kind way. And one that is like with that understanding that it's like we're
not scared to say it either.
Yeah, because we want your true healing. We don't want this to be this drawn out thing for you for years and years of like being able to like gently get you to the issues, being able to like have this, like we are very good at holding a very safe space and being able to be like, this is everything that's going on, and being like, this is the one thing that it is. And then with our intuition and with our talents and strength and skill, that we're able to find a solution that's good for you, and being able to empower, like you said, it's like asking those questions, empower you to get to that decision.
We're very good. We're very good at pinpointing what the issue is right off the bat. So you can come in and you won't even have to say anything, and we can know what the issue is. We can pull it right away. Or you can sit there and talk to us about what's going on in your life for 10 minutes, and then we can pinpoint what it is. And what's nice is that's not wasting the full hour trying to get to that. We have solutions for the rest of the hour to actually talk about that. And it's like that mixed with being able to hold the safe space, mixed with the amount of support that we offer, mixed with like the
how funny we are.
Yeah. We like to think. But it's just like it's even something that's like really hard to explain, because until you experience it, you don't really understand it. And it's like having the trust to be able to show up for that. It's like one of the biggest compliments that we get.
We call it kindred style. We do things kindred style.
Okay, that's super funny, and everything is funny because as you're talking about all of that, I'm like visualizing how we are like trained to have this stone wall around us to protect us, and like this stone wall around our heart. And then as you're talking about you doing it and like you're sharing the hard truth in a gentle and safe way, I'm thinking of like this big wall, this stone wall protecting our heart, and instead of tearing down the wall, it's just like this little like kindred egg that just like cracks open in the most gentle way.
Or I see us like peeking over the wall and be like, what you doing? Yeah. Yeah, it's like, and I think that's like our biggest, like our greatest strength is being able to really get to the heart of it, like right away. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It really is magical. So we'll link to everything. We'll link to your Facebook page, your Instagram, your website. Is there anywhere else that people should find you?
There's pretty much everywhere that we're not.
Yeah.
The kindedsec.ca is like where we have all of our information. We have the newsletter there. And then Facebook's where the community is at. Instagram is where we like to play and have fun. And then we have the podcast, which is everywhere podcasts can be, YouTube and Pinterest.
Oh, we even have a playlist.
Yes, yeah, we have a Spotify playlist with like all of our vibing songs. That's what we like to work to. Mm-hmm.
That is so awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, very much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Yeah.